Hi guys, how's it going? I'm James. I'm native in English and I can speak Spanish and Italian. I help people reach conversational level in another language. Today I'm going to be talking about how do you understand what native speakers are saying. This is very difficult for a lot of people. It's a common struggle or common barrier, psychological, that a lot of language learners have. How the hell do you understand what native speakers are saying, especially when they're speaking quite quickly? Not every native speaker speaks quickly, and a lot of words can be connected together. Even in English, we might say gonna, wanna, instead of going to, want to. So native speakers in different languages also say the same sort of thing. First thing is you're limited as to what you can do mentally if you're stressed. And in general, when you're talking to someone, it depends massively on the situation. So number one is find out or take into account what the situation is. So a lot of people want to learn a different language to go to a hotel in a different country or to go to a restaurant in a different country and get things done, achieve certain tasks like order food, order drinks, get around and navigate by using a different language. And for that to happen, for communication to happen, there have to be two people speaking. So you're asking someone for help, or you're asking someone, a bartender or a waiter or waitress, for what they have on the menu or something, or you're ordering. So in this situation, they want to be efficient and get the job done. That can cause you to rush a bit. So bear in mind, if you're in a busy place or noisy place, there will be a lot of background noise. And if you can't understand exactly what they're saying, or you say something back to them, and they don't quite get what you mean, that's okay. Just accept that there might be a limitation in how well you can communicate, and just try and relax as much as you can. Try to, if you can, if you're practicing the language, try not to practice it. If you're not that comfortable yet, try to practice it in a quiet, calm space with someone who might be a friend of a friend, or someone who can be more forgiving and the situation isn't as demanding for you to be clear and concise. If you're in a busy restaurant, for example, on holiday, say you're in Spain or in Italy, and you're trying to order food and you're trying to practice your Spanish or Italian, the waiter or the waitress might be quite rushed to get an accurate order from you as to exactly what you want to eat or drink. In that situation, you're quite pressured to get it right and to speak properly with the correct tense. And if there's a lot of background noise, you've got plates, you've got people speaking loudly, it can be really hard to get your point across, and also for them to understand you. If you say something and they don't understand you, that can really hurt your confidence. Understandably, it's nobody's fault. It's just the fact that it could be the case if you're speaking to an English person and it's really noisy. But just bear that in mind, that that's not a reflection of your level or abilities to speak a different language. Bear in mind that if that happens, accept that it's a situation to blame and not your efforts for learning the language. So don't go too hard on yourself if you try and communicate in a foreign country and you're not quite understood. That's step one. Step two is relax. A lot of people, this is the case in sales as well, we try and plan what we want to say next before listening to the person. So if we're in a conversation in our native language, the person we're speaking to says something, we go, okay, interesting. Then you think about it and you think what you want to say back. It might take half a second, it might take a few seconds of thought. That is also the same in a foreign language. It's hard to anticipate what the other person's saying, and quite often we get stuck in our own heads thinking, I need to come up with an answer quickly to be fluent in that language, but I can't think of what they're saying. So a lot of people, we think, how can I construct this next sentence in our heads before the other person's even stopped talking? And naturally, when we're speaking a different language, it takes more effort, it takes more brain processing and thought around what it is. We might know the context, but we might only understand 60 or 70% of what they're saying. However, if we relax and we think, okay, that's fine, let's try and work out what they're saying first. And if they know that we're practicing a different language to our native language, they will understand and appreciate that it might take us a bit longer to respond to them. So don't try and go as quickly as you can to try and show off how good you are at responding to a native speaker. Take your time, because the gap that you leave in your response is nothing compared to the accuracy or getting your point across. If you can understand what they're saying and they don't have to repeat themselves, that's absolutely fine. but it's better to leave a bit of a gap and take more time to think, even a second or two longer, to work out, okay, what was that? I didn't get that word exactly, but I got the words around it, and we're talking about football, or we're talking about what we like to make for dinner or something, or we're talking about X subject or the context. If you understand the context, then that can help you work out what the missing words are or what they could be talking about. So that's the second thing. So first thing is understand the environment and the context that you're in, and go easy on yourself if you're in a noisy environment. If you're quite early on in your language journey, and you say go to experiment with language in a different country, and you're really determined to try and see what you can do, then make sure you're in a quiet place or a relaxed environment where there's no pressure on you to get it right and to get it right quickly so that things can be done. So if you're going with friends, for example, and they have international friends and they're Spanish or Italian or something, then make sure that you're in a relaxed place. That's the first one. So the scenario that you're in. And then the second one is understand the context and don't spend so much time in your brain. I think it's the same with sales as well, because I used to be a salesperson when I was younger, and we get told you have 2 ears and 1 mouth, which essentially is a way of saying listen more than you speak. And that is very much the same when it comes to communicating with a native speaker in a different language. Try and not spend so much time in your mind and thinking about it. Relax and think, okay, that's interesting. The context is this. They're saying something back to me. What do I think about that? Or first of all, you think, what are they saying? I don't understand it all, but that's fine. That's fine if you don't understand it all. That's the whole point of learning a different language. The whole point is it's a continuous process where you're constantly hearing of new words that you don't understand. I think when you get near to being more fluent, as you near fluency, I think that's an increased confidence in being able to communicate and having confidence that you can communicate and navigate your way around the conversation despite not knowing every single word. So that is even if the speaker is saying something that's a genuine word, but they might have a different accent, or they might combine 2 words together like English people do, or I think every language, every native speaker does in their own language. They might combine 2 words to make it quicker. If that's the case, don't go mad on yourself. Just accept that this can happen, and we do it ourselves. So as long as you understand the context, give yourself time, give yourself space, and really think about what they could be meaning. Think about the context, any hand gestures, body language, things like that, and then try and interpret what they're saying. And if you don't quite get it the first time, try and repeat back a bit to them of what you do understand, and they'll say, oh, they'll sort of think, okay, he understands that, but not quite this. So if someone says to me, would you like a drink of lemon, or would you like ice in your lemonade, for example, as a random example, I know, I could then say to them, ice lemonade or something, and they would then be thinking, oh, okay, he understands ice lemonade, but he doesn't know what the question was that I asked him. So let's rephrase it. And they could say, oh, would you like, and they might use a hand gesture or something like ice, or they might repeat the word and they offer it to you. So they increase the non-verbal communication, they increase the hand gestures, or they make it a bit easier, or they slow down a bit, but they know that you're halfway there, basically. So it's, they respect you for trying to do that, basically. That's the idea. And if you do that, then every time you try and do that and you miss a word or you get it wrong or something, you still enjoy that conversation because you still had a conversation with a native speaker, even if it's not 100% perfect. And that is the point. That's the journey of language learning. Being okay with the fact that you're not perfect and you'll make mistakes, but being okay with that and laughing it off. The worst fear that people have about speaking with native speakers is that they're not understood, and then this is embarrassing to them. It makes you feel bad, basically, about yourself. It makes you think, oh, I shouldn't have even tried that. I can't do it. I get everything wrong. And then we catastrophize in our own heads, and we think, I'm not good at this. I'm just going to give up. And that's it's sort of you're on your back foot. It's a defensive mechanism for us because we want to avoid trying things that hurt us, either physically or emotionally. And that is sort of a bit emotionally damaging it in a little tiny way because you're not as good as you thought you were. But we can't let that destroy our confidence. We have to look at the bits that we did well and the positive emotions we got from that conversation. So if you're with a friend and you're only just about understanding 30% of what they're saying, but you're having a laugh and you're saying occasional words that make sense, that's perfect. That's your aiming point. And yeah, that's the point. So that's what I wanted to say in this session. Please let me know what you think in the comments below, and cheers, see you later.